Dog Works Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by First Paw Coffee Company, specializing in private label premium blend coffee. If you're serious about coffee, you should check it out. First Paw Coffee's passion is high-quality, small-batch roasted coffee. They take the extra time to taste and get everything perfect before they release new blends. They aim to bring you a cup of happiness each time you pour yourself some coffee. Find out more at ak.dog/free and enter for a chance to win some First Paw Coffee prizes, a book from our collection, and tote bag. One winner will be selected at random each month. That's ak.dog/free.
Radio Free Palmer 89.5 KVRF presents Mushing Radio, hosted by Robert Forto. Mushing Radio is about dog-powered sports, living in the Great White North, and mushing. Visit our website at mushingradio.com. Here is your host, Robert Forto.
Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Robert Forto, and you're listening to Mushing Radio here on KVRF 89.7 in the Mat-Su Valley. RadioFreePalmer.org is our live streaming site, and you can find all of our episodes over on DogWorks Radio. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and also follow us on social media by searching DogWorks Radio. And today we're joined by Christine Stitt. She is involved with a junior mushing event here in the Mat-Su Valley, the Willow Junior 100. Christine, how's it going today?
Going very well, thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. I know that we spoke earlier about the Willow 300, and folks have probably already heard that episode, but could you do us a favor and tell us who you are and what you're all about, please?
Again, my name is Christine Stitt. I've been a resident Willow for 18 years, and I have, ever since moving here, we've been involved with dogs, our children and whatnot, and we decided that we were going to start getting more actively involved with the community, with Willow Dog Mushers Association, and do some races.
And today we're talking about a junior race, and those are few and far between nowadays, especially the distance races. And you were instrumental in this one, weren't you? I remember when my daughter Nicole, when she moved up here the first year in Alaska, she ran that Willow 300, or excuse me, the Willow Junior 100, and it was the longest race that she had ever run. But you have a lot of history with that race, don't you?
Yes, we do. This race started 12 years ago. Our children were anxious to do some more races. They wanted to do some distance races. And at the time, there was the Cantwell Junior Classic, and then there was the Tuscaloosa Junior. So we would travel, but they said, Mom, why don't you make another race and, just let's try it. So we did. I sat down with the kids, asked them what they'd like, how they think a race should run, because I've never done it. Talked with a veterinarian from Cantwell, Jane Hempstead, who guided me a great deal as well. And we decided the very first race 12 years ago, it was going through the Don Bowers. We called it the Don Bowers Junior. And then from that year on, we decided to go ahead, because we knew the Don Bowers wasn't going to be continuing on. We went ahead and changed it to the Willow Junior 100, and we run out of Bernhalter's Dream a Dream Dog Yard and finish in Bernhalter's Dream a Dream Dog Yard. We have a 50-mile trail that goes up the mountain on the east side of the Parks Highway, and we have been collectively improving on this race, I think, for the last 10 years. We've gotten some amazing support for gifts and prizes and lots of fun things for the kids. It turned into a yearly event. I guess we're in our 12th year, and we are, other than the Junior Iditarod, I do believe that we are the only mid-distance race for juniors in the state.
Well, Christine, it is truly a hidden gem, and these races or these trails that you guys run on are my home trails, and I have to say they're some of the best little-known trails in the Mat-Su Valley. As far as I know, there's only a handful of folks that ever run on them. Myself and Vern and his crew and Matt Failer and a couple of sprinters, but otherwise, there's not a lot of folks on this side, is there?
No, there's not. They're not. Most of the mushers hit the west side, and I think the reason that happens a lot is because the west side actually gets more snow quicker than we do up on the mountain and then on the east side. But yeah, they're little known. Earl Norris, Hesser. I think the Nike site is in there. Just a really nice trail system that not a lot of people come up and use. And just recently, Clear Excavating Services has been up there, and they have gone through with clearing trails out to make them a lot nicer and basically getting off of private property. But now it looks like some of the areas of these trails are like little marine highways.
Yeah, they are beautiful. And I know a little bit of Alaska history for our folks that are listening. This race goes up the old Herning Trail, and the Herning Trail was really a footpath that folks would walk all the way from lower Mat-Su Valley, like Wasilla, Palmer area. They would walk that trail to get up towards Hatcher Pass and do some gold mining. Is that correct?
As far as I know, yes. Again, I'm not wild on knowledgeable for trails, but from what I understood, yes, that it was an original walking path to get up into Hatcher's Pass and over from Palmer and Wasilla side, yes.
So you had said that you guys provide a heck of a lot of support for the juniors, and I want to talk about that in a second. But one of the coolest things that I remember about your race was the halfway point, the camp for the kids, and that was up very close to your place. And you guys it was not only acceptable or accessible to the mushers, but I remember my wife and I came up to meet the mushers up there, and you guys had the lanterns along the trail and all that. You guys really did it right.
Well, again, that's our children. As they grew, they kept it, advising mom and dad at what we should do to make it better. I actually got a comment from Vern Halter. He says, "What else can you do for these kids?" But yeah, we make it I want their first race to be an experience that they're going to thoroughly enjoy. Sometimes Vern says that, our race isn't very competitive, and it probably isn't as competitive as the junior Iditarod, but this is the first race that most kids will run. And so, yeah, we give them a little bit of a comfort zone. They've got a heated tent. We feed them. We feed the parents. We feed the volunteers all at the halfway point. We give them a nice warm meal. They get to enjoy each other's company. We have a tent for food, and then we have a tent for sleeping, and we have I'm not going to say babysitters, but we do have 3 or 4 people that stay up all night with these kids, just making sure everything goes according, wake the kids up when the dogs go and they get to go out and check on them. We're not a real strict code to, I don't know, the junior Iditarod. The junior Iditarod, you run that race. As you well know, I'm pretty sure that your daughter ran that one as well.
Yes, a couple times.
Yeah, right. So as she well knows, getting to that halfway point, fending for yourself, making sure, you might have to step in your sled or whatnot. And, even there are some kids that when they come up to the halfway point, they love the bonfire. They love mixing with the kids. They play little games and whatnot. But some of them enjoy sleeping in their sled still. So we do have a couple that will do that. But we do have heated tents for them. We've got their water. We've got their straw. We try to accommodate them. Yes, when they get there, they still have to take care of their own dogs. They have to do their own thing. They're not allowed any outside assistance. Parents are allowed to talk with their children as long as they've got an official there. But that's what I feel makes it more comfortable. The parents, my husband and I, when we would go to the Cantwell or the Tustamina with the kids, we never heard about where they were at. We never seen them till they finished. They start, they were gone, and here we are waiting and waiting, no nothing. Whereas with this race, we've got constant trail communication. with the officials at the halfway point that are constantly putting this information on our Facebook page, the Willow Junior, and parents are aware of what's going on. The parents do. They get to come in. We'll either snow machine them out there, or they can take a beautiful candlelit walk out to what used to be called, what we call Grandpa Joe's Lake. And they go out there. They get to watch their kids come in. To me, it makes the parent feel better. It makes them feel more confident about what their child is doing. They get to see this child come in. Jim Lanier's son ran this race and a couple times, and when he was up there for the first time, and he said on a video, he said, you know, it's really encouraging, and it just feels good to see your child at the halfway point, to see them come in and to see what they're doing and to know that they're okay, and that's what they like. Our children on the trails are never alone for any longer than probably a quarter of a mile. We do not let them get lost. We make sure they don't get lost, and we just keep a real tight eye on them. This is sometimes, for most of them, I think we've got 6 rookies running this year signed up. And, you know, sometimes they're you know, this is new territory for them, and they're probably not as sure as themselves. So we kind of give them a little upbeat in the beginning, letting them know you're not alone. There are people out there. We're watching you. We're taking care of you, and we're going to make sure you get to the halfway point and that you get right back down to the finish line.
So earlier you learned about First Paw Coffee Company, and now I'm going to tell you about its Tail Wagger Blend. First Paw Coffee Company's Tail Wagger Blend is their first offering, and its name and label were crowdsourced from their Facebook fans. How cool is that? The Tail Wagger Blend is a private label premium blend that was developed just for them. It is a medium roast from Colombian beans with tastes of Brazil nuts, grapefruit, and oak. Be sure to go to ak.dog/free and enter to win a bunch of cool prizes. That's ak.dog/free.
You know, Christine, I'm involved with the Chugach Dog Mushers, and they are more of a sprint club, but they have junior races there, and typically they're only running 1 or 2 dogs around a very well-groomed track. And, you know, it's quick, it's over, and then they're done. And this is a whole different animal when you're talking about 100 miles. And I think it was last year I was out at one of the turns for your guys' race as they head up towards Hatcher Pass there. And these guys were little kids. I remember one of them could barely see over the handlebars. I believe it was a young lady, but she was doing it, and she was doing well. So you guys have kids from all different types of mushing backgrounds. You've had, you know, folks that are running some kennels, running with kennels from some of the bigger names like the CVs and whatnot, and then you have folks that are coming in from far away, like they're coming in from Bethel or Nome or whatever. What are your guys' qualifications, if any? What is the age requirement? What do they have to do to run this race, etc.?
Again, we're not real by the book, but the ages are from 12 to 17. And, of course, I did junior. I did around 14 to 17, but we've gone to 12. And the reason we went with 12 years old was because my boy was 12 years old when he ran the first race. I've had 4 children that have run the Willow Junior 100. And the first year, 3 of the 5 children who ran the full race were my kids. So it's basically your age requirements, and you have to have some experience. So we want you to have cold weather experience. We want you to have camping experience. We want you to have, being able to maintain and control your 10-dog team. So you've got to have, if you have no experience as far as any other races, then we do require that you have 2 mushers or 1, depending on, where they're at. So Ellen Reddington is signed up this year. She's it's kind of easy to figure out. She's got some good references there that she can handle these teams and she can get out there and run. So basically, we do ask that you have musher reference forms, and then you have to have a vet check. Other than that, basically, you're good to go. It's not a whole lot of qualifying. Again, this is a race that we want them to be comfortable in and not feel that there's a lot of pressure on them. I do enjoy someone's first experience with the race being an easy one. I'm just a little more laid back than the normal, but yeah, there's not much to qualify. Just the age limit, the being out on the trails, and or musher recommendation forms is what they'd have to have. But other than that, we take care of everything else.
Christine, you had said that there wasn't a lot of rules and regulations for this, but this is a good race for tuning up for the Junior Iditarod, which takes part just a couple of weeks after yours. And of course, that race is a qualifier for the Iditarod, so they can count that as one of their 150s for the Iditarod, the big Iditarod that they do as adults. And if I remember correctly, Christine, when Nicole ran this race, I don't know if she ran it once or twice, but there was a young lady that came all the way from Pennsylvania to run the Willow Junior 100. Then she ended up doing the Iditarod, Junior Iditarod, and then went on to work for several years down at the CV operation down there in Seward area. So it's sort of a building up ground, I guess, if you will, a training ground for the next phase of mushers. And I know when we talked about the Willow 300, Christine, we talked about the state of mushing as we see it in terms of racing. Where do you see it currently with our juniors? And I have some comments I would like to see if you could respond to after I get your thoughts.
Well, I tell you, I would really hope that the future of junior mushing could pick up. We need more junior races. We really do. It's, there's just these two, and there are so many kids up and coming that really want to get out there and do this, but, they might not be able to travel that distance. We do. We actually have Lime Village, North Pole, Fairbanks, down in Kenai. We have had outer-staters that come in, and we had a young lady 2 years ago stay with us to run the Junior Iditarod in this race, Talia Martin. And these kids need, and there just doesn't seem to be, I don't want to say enough interest, but again, you're talking organizations, you're talking volunteers, you're talking trails, you're talking, and I have to brag, but only on one level, and that is our trails. I have never had any problems with having trail crew, getting out there, making sure everything's done like it needs to be done. And that means a lot, because without trails, there's no race. So we need more races, Robert. We do. We need more people to get involved and understand that these children, they're only going to have these two races. And, they do. They run them consistently. I've had several mushers who have run this race 2-3 years in a row. And basically so they can get the miles on their dogs and then get to the juniors, get their qualifiers, and then move right on. We've had several mushers that have moved on to Iditarod. So we need more. We need more people to be interested. It's a fading thing, I think, for juniors, and it shouldn't be. I worry that 1 year that maybe we won't get enough mushers to run this race. But right now, I got some little kids out there on some sleds. But it's fun, it's encouraging, it's uplifting, and it helps them to prepare for the Junior Iditarod, which is a tougher race as far as camping and everything involved. But, we don't have enough of it, Robert. We need more.
Oh, I agree with you. And aside from the big mushing kennels like the Boosers and the CVs and whatnot that always put teams in this, whether it's their kids or kids that they loan, lease, or whatever they do with their dogs, aside from them, it's tough to get new kids involved. And I was encouraged to see Ramey and Becca's, I believe it's their daughter that's running in the junior race. Is that right?
Yes, Ava. I've been waiting for her to run this race ever since she was born.
Yeah, I
literally.
Yeah, I remember meeting her when we first moved here, and she was just a toddler, and now she's she's able to run this race up here. So I guess the question to you, Christine, is how do we get the interest from the kids? You know, kids nowadays, unless they grow up in this, unless they're from a mushing family, they don't care about mushing. They want to, you know, watch the Netflix and play the PlayStation and do all that sort of stuff. They're not interested in mushing like they used to be, are they?
No, they're not. They're not. There's too many things to distract them, too many things, too easy to get into a lot of things out there now that they couldn't get into. And, you know, mushing was just a way of life originally. You know, it was something that you had to do, especially those in the villages and going to and fro. But at this time in frame, you know, it takes communities, the Fairbanks community. They had gotten to a very low number in their racing events, and right now I have two families, Shawcross and Wappets, that have been coming into this race for several years, who have taken up the Fairbanks Mushing Club and trying to, you know, reinvigorate these kids into getting into this. And I don't know what it would take to get children back interested in it, but at this point in time, you know, I'm looking at 12 mushers signed up, and I have a 13th out there. I'm not sure if they'll be making it or not, but that's big for the Willow Junior, because that's the most mushers we've had at one time. And that's encouraging to me, because these younger ones, we've got some 12 and 13-year-olds, and they're coming up in these families, and these families have other children. Kind of like our family. Our children kept the Willow Junior 100 running for 5-6 years because all my children ran it. So if we can get more community effort in the smaller areas, the villages and or the valleys, or what more interest, maybe it would help. But again, like you say, we have so many things out there now that are too easy to get into and deal with, and it just kind of pulls them away from, I'm just going to say it, what's real in life.
Right.
You know, it is what it is.
So you had talked about community, and this is the last questions I really have for you, Christine. If I remember correctly, there was a heck of a lot of community support when my daughter was involved in both the Willow Junior and the Junior Iditarod. They had a banquet, and all the kids got prizes from the community, gift cards, and gloves, and the winner would get sleds and all this sorts of stuff. There was a lot of stuff going on for the kids afterwards. That has to be encouraging for the kids when they go to the race, especially, I don't know if you guys do it, but I know the Junior Iditarod did it for years, where they would give the winner a new sled. That's encouraging, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. We were doing that, and I'll just be honest, we had a couple of big teams coming in with some children, and it kind of went on a little low for us, so we kind of changed our distribution for our gifts now. We have 9 top prizes. We're talking fur hat, sled, gang lines, cookers, snow hooks, parkas, whatnot. Our children now, when they come over the finish line, they actually draw a piece of paper out of a hat and they give it to the official. They do not know what they won coming in first place. It may just be a snow hook, or it may be the sled. Last year, our little native girl who came in from Lime Village, she placed, I think it was 6th or 7th in our race, and she took home that brand new sled.
Wow.
That right there, it draws them in, because now you're looking at teams thinking, you know what, let's go, because we're going to take something home.
Yeah.
We're going to get a cooker. I don't have a cooker. I need a cooker. Or, wow, we're going to get a brand new gang line, 10-dog, all reflective cable down the middle gang line. We've got some major sponsors out there who really enjoy that we do this now. And so we kind of spread the wealth. Yeah, we make a difference for the first, second, and third. They get some, different prizes and a little more recognition. But as far as the prizes going out now, yeah, you can come in 7th or 8th place and bring a brand new sled home.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know the Junior Iditarod does something very similar, and what they offer is very unique in Mushing, and I believe they still do it, but they offer money for college scholarships for
Yes, they do.
The top 2 or 3 mushers in the race. That is really encouraging for folks that can potentially get a year or two, a semester or two of college paid just for running the Junior Iditarod.
Oh yeah, that's a big encouragement for a lot of kids in this area because there are a lot of children who can't afford to go to college.
Right.
So yeah, that's a major thing that they do for them. Yes.
So Christine, let's finish up here. I know that the race is, I believe, mid-February. We'll air this episode right around then. How can folks follow along with this one? Do you guys have the trackers, or you just have an active Facebook page, or what?
It'll be active Facebook page. Yeah, we haven't done the trackers yet. We just too many people out on the trails to give all the information, and our whole trail system is totally cell phone accessible. So we have all the information we need. You can follow it on the Willow Junior 100 Facebook page, and there are updates continually from every musher leaving, getting into the halfway point, leaving the halfway point, crossing over Tuxedo Road, getting into the finish line. You'll be able to follow it clear through on the Junior 100 Facebook page.
And of course, there's going to be a heck of a lot of parents updating the Facebook pages as well.
There's going to be a lot of parents.
Yes, very good. Christine, yeah. It was my pleasure to have you on today for the Willow Junior 100 and also for the Willow 300. It's folks like you that are really keeping mushing alive here in now the newly proclaimed, I guess it's sort of been history for a long time, but we were at the carnival the other day, and I guess they're going to put some signs up that says the mushing capital of the world here in Willow.
That's what they've been wanting to do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we actually have hoodies. We don't anymore. I sold them all off, but we used to have hoodies that said we're Willow, Alaska, where there are more dogs than people. And those things went like hotcakes. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Christine. We'll talk again soon, okay?
All righty. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
It.
On behalf of my guest today, Christine Stitt, this is Robert Forto for Mushing Radio. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by First Paw Coffee Company. Learn more at firstpaw.coffee.
From DogWorks Radio, this is Mushing Radio. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you'll see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Alex Stein and Robert Forto. Our producer is Robert Forto, created for DogWorks Radio. Did you know that Alaska DogWorks trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michelle Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska DogWorks on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.